The story starts off all wholesome and cheerful. Keller and his wife Grace, and his two kids Anna and Ralph, they are off to their neighbor Franklin's house for a Thanksgiving party. Because nothing says family bonding like food and small talk with people you only see once a year. And Franklin's family is just as picture perfect, with his wife Nancy and their two daughters, Eliza and Joy. And together, these two families look like they're straight out of a holiday commercial. And after pretending to enjoy adult conversations for a while, all four kids decide to head out for some fresh air and mild mischief. While wandering around, they come across a sketchy-looking RV just sitting there. Naturally, Anna, the adventurous one, thinks it's a great idea to climb it, because what could possibly go wrong with climbing random, suspicious vehicles? But the others pull her down, and they all head back home. But Anna is not done being a walking red flag. She tells her mum she wants to go back home with Joy to find her missing toy. And her mum, being surprisingly chill about the whole thing, and agrees. Time passes, and surprise, no kids. Everyone starts to panic, they start looking everywhere, and that's when Ralph, the one observant kid in the group, casually mentions, "Oh yeah, I saw them near that creepy RV." Everyone rushes over, but guess what? The RV has vanished. Because obviously creepy vehicles don't stick around for police to show up. With no choice left, they file a missing persons report. And that's when Detective Loki steps into the picture. Then Loki actually does his job pretty well and finds the RV soon after. But before he can say you're under arrest, the driver panics and tries to make a getaway. But plot twist, the RV crashes into a tree. So much for a dramatic escape. Then Loki drags the guy out, his name's Alex Jones, and immediately starts grilling him about the missing girls. Alex, being as helpful as a brick wall, keeps saying, "No," on loop. But Loki's not buying it. He asks why he tried to run if he was innocent, and Alex drops the bombshell and says, "I live in that RV. It's my house." And this answer doesn't make any sense of question. But digging deeper, Loki learns that Alex parks the RV at his aunt's house. So off he goes to check the place out, and while snooping around, something catches his eye. An old car, just sitting there, being way too suspicious for its own good. While Detective Loki is busy investigating like a true Sherlock, right then a woman appears out of nowhere like a boss-level NPC and asks, "What are you doing here?" And she's Alex's aunt. So Loki, trying to play it cool, and starts asking about Alex. But then he tells everything. But Aunt immediately switches into defense mode like a lawyer in court and says that Alex is a very quiet boy. He's never done anything wrong. But when Loki asks about their relationship, she explains that Alex is her husband's brother's son. Basically, he's family, but not too close, just in case this whole thing turns into a scandal. So, he is not family. After gathering that little nugget of family drama, it's revealed that Alex's mental development stopped when he was 10. Yep, the guy's got the brain of a child. So now the whole police department starts looking at him like he's just a confused boy who got caught up in the worst misunderstanding ever. And Loki even starts doubting himself. So that's why Loki visits Keller's house with this brand new info dump. He gently explains that the guy's mentally stuck at 10. He probably couldn't have done anything like this. But Keller is not buying this sympathy sale. So Keller goes full rage mode and says, "Have you ever seen a 10-year-old kid driving an RV? And if he's so innocent, why did he sprint off the moment he saw you?" And this is fair point, honestly. Then Loki, trying to calm things down with the classic cop line, says, "We're still investigating. We'll find the real culprit soon." Then he tries to leave like it's the end of his shift. But Keller comes and says, "At least don't let that guy go until the investigation is over." But Loki says that we can't legally hold anyone for more than 48 hours without solid evidence, and guess what? Alex hits that 48-hour mark tomorrow. Now Keller is on full paranoia mode and says, if Alex took the girls and you let him go, he might kill them. But Loki sticks to his rulebook and says, "Sorry, this isn't taken. We can't just break the law and keep him locked up for fun." And just like that, Loki leaves. But he doesn't waste time. He starts rounding up every other criminal in the city who's ever so much as looked at a child sideways. And then stumbling into some random dude's house only to find him unconscious. As if that's not sketchy enough, then our curious hero decides to head straight to the basement, because sure, nothing creepy ever happens in basements. And down there he finds a corpse. But this one's so old and rotten so he freaks out, obviously. Then he grabs the passed out man, who turns out to be a priest. So Loki demands to know who the mummified body is and why it's chilling in his basement. The priest, without batting an eye, says, "Oh, that guy, he came to confess that he killed 16 children and was planning to kill more." So naturally, the priest lured him in and murdered him. After hearing all this, the case gets even more complicated. But here everyone's searching around in the forest. Meanwhile, Keller gets a call from his wife saying the cops just let Alex go. Listening this, Keller rushed to the station and absolutely loses it. He grabs Alex and starts throwing hands, but mid-rage, Alex says to him, "She never cried when I was with her." That's when Keller goes full berserk mode because now he knows Alex did something. But of course the police are like, "Whoa there, cowboy, let's not jump to conclusions," and gently peel Keller off him. Then Keller told Loki what Alex said there, so Loki goes to his house to ask, but he says no. And Loki still believes Alex is just a misunderstood weirdo. But sometimes later, Keller calls Loki and asks if Alex has been arrested. But when Loki says nah, he's probably innocent, Keller hangs up and immediately starts planning his own justice. That night, Keller straight up kidnaps Alex and drags him to an old abandoned house. Because when the system fails, why not you become Batman without the suit? Then Keller calls his buddy and is like, "Hey, I've got the guy who kidnapped our girls." His friend shows up, sees Alex all tied up and tries to talk some sense into him. So Keller's friend is like, "Bro, this is not the way, you're going full vigilante and this isn't a Marvel movie." But Keller's not hearing any of it. He's like, "The cops think this psycho is innocent, and if he stays out, our daughters won't last another day." And then Keller absolutely loses it on Alex, like full WWE mode, beats him to a pulp and keeps screaming that, "Where are the girls?" Meanwhile, our favorite detective is actually trying to solve the case legally. He starts digging through missing children reports like he's Googling lost socks and finds a case from way back, like 26 years ago back. So he goes to the house to meet the lost boy's mom, and she says, "Yeah, my kid vanished literally outside our house." And she also saw an RV that day. Here, Loki brain goes error because an RV was also seen outside the Keller house that day. Anyway, it's been 4 days since the girls vanished and now the entire town is in panic mode, and people are doing candle marches, holding posters. Then Loki shows up to the march like he's just vibing, but then he spots a super suspicious guy in the crowd. The dude sees Loki looking and immediately sprints like he's dodging student loans. So Loki gives chase but loses him. And still, Sherlock takes a mental screenshot of the guy's face and later gets a sketch artist to recreate it. And that sketch goes viral on TV faster than celebrity gossip. Unbelievable. Later, Loki receives a call from a woman who says, "That man you're looking for shops at our store. He only buys children's clothes and always pays with cash." This raises some serious concerns. Then Loki gives her his number, asking her to call him immediately if the man returns. Not long after, the same man shows up at Keller's house. He tries to sneak inside, but Keller's wife senses something is wrong, and she looks around, and when she does, the man escapes through a window. Immediately, she speed dials our favorite detective, Loki. He shows up and listens to the whole mystery man came in and yeeted out the window story, and while doing his gaudy thinking face, she casually drops a truth bomb that Keller has been out all night, says he's helping cops day and night. After listening, this Loki is like, "Excuse me?" Because he never assigned Keller any superhero side missions. That's when the suspicion radar in Loki's brain goes full red alert. And Alex Jones conveniently disappeared around the same time, so Loki starts tailing Keller. But one day, just when he's about to catch Keller red-handed with Alex, our guy Keller sniffs it out. So for Loki's distraction, he walks into a wine shop, buys a bottle like it's wine o'clock, then casually strolls up to Loki like, "Yo, why are you following me?" And Loki's not even trying to be slick. He hits him straight and asks, "Alex Jones is missing, you wouldn't happen to know where he is?" Keller explodes and says, "If Alex is missing, blame your department. Don't point fingers at me," and storms off like a drama queen with a grudge. Then scene cut to torture chamber, Keller's prison set up where Alex is being treated like he's in some twisted survival challenge. This time it's not fist, it's temperature warfare. Because Keller locks Alex in a bathroom and turns it into a deadly game. Just then, Loki shows up at the makeshift torture spot trying to figure out what Keller's up to. But Keller spots him in time and turns to Alex, warning him coldly that, "If you say one more word, I'll burn you with boiling water." At this point, someone give Loki a raise, or at least a break. So Keller, our emotionally constipated hero, decides to sleep outside on the ground. Then Loki enters and sees Keller sleeping there. So he asks Keller about this, so he smartly answers that when he drinks too much, the best place to crash is not his comfy bed but this cold dirt, because he can't drink in front of his wife. Then Loki asks for a house tour, and Keller, being the world's most trusting borderline suspect, and says sure. But just when Loki is about to stumble into the secret chamber of doom where things get real, but his phone rings, it's the store girl, and she says, "I got his license plate." And just like that, Loki's got the address. Then he rolls up to the guy's house, arrests him, then he searches the house, and when he opens a suspicious-looking box, he finds live snakes inside. But what's even more disturbing is, he finds some children's clothes stained with blood. It's clear now something is very, very wrong. And because things weren't weird enough, there's a diary inside one of the boxes that says, "If you solve the maze, you can go home." Naturally, Loki has no idea what this is supposed to mean, because it's not like he minored in cryptic symbolism. So, still clueless, he drags the suspect to the station and calls in Keller and Franklin to ID the bloody kid clothes. And yes, it's belonged to their missing kids. And now Franklin loses all hope. But Keller still believes that his daughter is alive. After this, Keller confronts Alex and desperately demands to know where his daughter is. But Alex speaking in riddles and simply says that she's in the maze. Meanwhile, the police are interrogating their suspect, trying to get answers about the missing children. But instead of giving a straight response, the man begins drawing an intricate maze, his only way of communicating, lost in his fractured mind. Just when things couldn't go further off the rails, the guy pulls the ultimate plot twist. He steals a cop's gun and offs himself. And Loki's entire investigation flushed down the narrative toilet, now sitting with nothing but confusion and regret. Then Loki studies the maze drawing and searching for clues hidden in the chaos. That's when he spots a photo of dead body. The same body the priest had secretly buried earlier. But near it there's a locket, and it perfectly matches the one drawn inside the maze. And then comes the real twist. The man everyone believed to be the kidnapper, he was actually a victim and kidnapped as a child himself. And even worse, someone had drugged him, erasing his memories and leaving behind only fragments of trauma. And somehow, he managed to escape, but his mind never recovered. That's why he's been mentally unstable ever since. And now, the cops find this creepy book in his house. And this book filled with the same maze drawings he kept sketching like a madman. And guess what? That book was given to him by the person who kidnapped him. Yeah, the book literally says, "Understand the maze and you'll find your way home." Seriously, who writes riddles to kidnapped kids? At this point, Loki realized that the guy whose name is Bob was innocent at all. But the real villain is still out there, sipping tea and enjoying freedom. Meanwhile, Keller is now super suspicious of Alex's aunt. So he goes to visit her and acting like friendly. But mid-conversation, Keller accidentally says the word maze, and boom, her face changes. That one word hits her like a bullet. She starts talking about Alex's past, saying that he had an accident as a child, and after that he stopped talking. But Keller asks what kind of accident, and then she says, "Well, my husband used to keep snakes, and one day Alex saw them and got really scared." Here Keller realizes that she's hiding something. But he doesn't push it further and quietly leaves. But just a little later, Franklin's daughter is found. The same girl who was kidnapped along with Keller's daughter. But Keller rushes to see her and asks, "Tell me, where were you kept?" The little girl says that you came there once, and we saw you, and we tried to call out, but our mouths were taped shut. And that one sentence flips Keller's whole world. He now knows exactly what's going on. He bolts from the hospital, but Loki sees him and starts chasing him, but Keller escapes. But Loki finally finds the place where Keller was keeping Alex. And meanwhile, Keller, the desperate dad, goes straight to Auntie's house, but this time no games. He confronts her and says, "I know my daughter is here," but she pulls a gun on him and says, "Put those handcuffs on, they're in the drawer." And she forces him to drink some drugged concoction, then she drags him to the backyard and she starts telling her little villain monologue. She tells that after our child died, everything broke inside us. Since then, me and my husband been kidnapping kids and killing them. This is our way of getting back at God. He took our child, so we take others, and when their parents go through the same pain, they'll start to hate God too. Yes, you heard that right. This wasn't about revenge on a person or some twisted form of grief therapy. It was an all-out, calculated crusade against God. And her husband was the same man whose body was found buried in the priest's basement, and since she's been carrying out the plan alone, then she turns to Keller and says to reverse the car. And he does, and that's when it's revealed a hidden underground entrance. She looks at him and says, "Get in." But Keller refuses. So she shoots him in the leg and she pushes him into that secret hole, locks the door shut, and parks the car back in place like nothing ever happened. And no one will ever know there's someone buried alive under the garage. But inside, Keller finds a tiny whistle. and the same whistle he had given to his daughter. Meanwhile, Detective Loki reaches Auntie's house to give her the good news that he found Alex. But then he spots a photo of her husband, and the same maze locket that was found on that dead body in the priest's basement, it was in his neck. And here Loki now knows who the real kidnapper is, and who's been behind all of it. The pieces finally fit, but before he can do anything, he sees the lady injecting Alex with poison. Then, Loki jumps into action, but she has also gun in hand, and she tries to shoot him, but Loki fires first. And he gets shot too, but he manages to save Alex, and he grabs him and rushes to the hospital. And now we learn the final twist that Alex's real name is Barry Milland, and he was the missing child from 26 years ago. The same kid whose mother once told Loki that my son was kidnapped long ago. And here turns out Alex, the quiet and unsettling guy, was actually a victim all along. And Keller was still missing, and no one knows where he is, not a single trace. Later, we see the police digging up the yard around the woman's house, trying to uncover how many children had been taken and how many never made it out. But that night, as the investigation winds down and everyone starts leaving, then Loki hears something, as if someone was whistling. Someone's down there. And here this movie ends.